Do you think Spider-Man can take out an island filled with people with spider powers? Welcome to the Complete Story Series. We take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read it dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Today we're going to be covering the story Spider Island, in which Spider-Man doesn't have his spider senses, so he has to learn how to use spider-foo. That's right, I said it, spider-foo. Will he be able to take out the Jackal with the help of his friends? Now, today's episode is being brought to you and sponsored by the app known as Gemmer. Gemmer is a great social media app for collectors of various things, from comic books to toys to even things like clothing, whatever you like to collect. And I myself, I enjoy collecting comic books and showing off my collection. You can find me on there as a member of the Comic Book Club, where I talk with other collectors and work out deals because you can buy, sell, and trade various collectible items on there. Now, I wanted to let you guys know if you sign up for the app for free with the link down below, you'll be entered to win a 9.8 CG Seed Amazing Spider-Man #1 variant by Scott Campbell. I thought it was an amazing comic book, and if you want to win it, you can get more information on a contest video that'll be coming out over this weekend. But don't forget to sign up for the app with the link down below. Now, let's move forward with Spider Island.
Things in New York have gotten weird recently. People are gaining spider powers from a bizarre infection going around New York City. Right now, it's kind of contained. A bank robber that's strong enough to break out of webbing, a police officer that's able to take him out with a single punch, and maybe a wannabe vigilante. But this is all a part of the latest plan from the Jackal, one of Spider-Man's worst villains, the man that is capable of cloning Peter Parker and is currently trying to see how far he can spread this disease, causing mild panic in the hospitals as people are coming in reporting sticky fingers and odd feelings. Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man himself, is off training with Madame Web, but more worried about his lack of spider sense. You see, Horizon Labs, the company that Peter Parker works for, accidentally created a device that jams Spider-Man's spider sense, and in response, he's been learning Kung Fu and how to properly fight from Shang-Chi and Madame Web herself. He calls it Spider-Fu. While Peter Parker is going back to his apartment because his girlfriend Carly Cooper wants to chat about something that she discovered, Jackal is moving forward with the next part of his plan. The revival of the first Peter Parker clone, the misfit, the reject, Kane. He's looking a little bit more like a spider though, and less like Peter Parker now. Over at Peter Parker's apartment, Carly shares an amazing secret with him. Somehow, she's gotten spider powers. She tells Peter this while standing on the ceiling of his apartment. Peter's in shock. So you got spider powers and you just come out and tell me? And just like that, she makes Peter feel like crap. Well, yeah, we're a couple and this is what couples do. Who else am I gonna share this with? Thanks, I guess. So after showing off her strength, she asks Peter that since he makes tech for Spider-Man, can he maybe make her some spider tech? Maybe he could even set her up with Spider-Man so that she could possibly become his sidekick. Can we just do something normal? I need to go drop Aunt May off at the airport. Oh, that's lame. I should go on patrol or something. That'd be awesome. Meanwhile, Jackal is putting the next phase of his plan into action. He goes to a local gang with his two enforcers, the Spider King and Tarantula. He hands the gang a box filled with Spider-Man uniforms, and he tells them that it's their lucky day. He then sets a bunch of criminals with spider powers loose on New York, all dressed up as Spider-Man. Mary Jane looks around at dozens of Spider-Men swinging around causing problems, and she says to herself that if we're doing the clone thing again, I swear I'm going back to LA. She then jumps underneath a car saving a kid as various superheroes arrive, and Hawkeye shouts, "Everyone assemble!" Over at the George Washington Bridge, after dropping Aunt May and her husband off at the airport, Peter and Carly find themselves in a traffic gridlock when the radio host starts reporting about Spider-Man going crazy all over the town. Carly tells Peter sorry, she's a cop, and she gets on the roof and then using her organic webbing, she's out of there. But as she leaves, she decides to tell Peter that this looks like a job for your friendly neighborhood Spider Cop. Peter then gets out of the car, so that's what that feels like. And then he sneaks off and changes and joins her as Spider-Man. Well, the real one. Meanwhile, back at Ground Zero with the Spider-Man attack, the Avengers and everyone else are shocked because every single one of these Spider-Men are as strong as Spider-Man himself. At least they aren't cracking the webhead's lame jokes, Hawkeye says, dropping another one of the black-suited Spider-Men. Speak for yourself, Hawkeye. That'd give me a bigger reason to pound them, Luke Cage says, preparing to punch another armored Spider-Man. But at that exact moment, Spider-Man, the real one, Peter Parker, comes swinging in and he sees Miss Marvel. Hey, Miss Marvel, I'm looking for a girl. And she knocks him on the ground. Great, now they're all getting pervy, she tells the rest of the superheroes. Peter gets back up and he tries to explain. I'm the real Spider-Man. But the thing turns back to him. Yeah, like I haven't heard that 5 times already. And he clobbers Spider-Man. Then Iron Fist comes in with a fully charged Iron Fist. So Shang-Chi jumps in to save the day. He was watching the whole thing unfold with Madam Web, and Madam Web can see into the future, and she saw this coming. But he refuses to stand by while Peter is getting beaten on by his friends. Hawkeye snaps at Shang. What are you doing? That's one of the bad guys. But Wolverine confirms it. Yeah, that one smells like ours. Plus, he ate a cherry Pop-Tart. Peter rubs his head telling Wolverine, shh, I didn't bring enough for everyone. But everyone tells Peter that he has to get out of this fight. If he's here, everyone will be holding back just in case they might punch him. So sadly, Peter leaves and he changes back into his civilian clothes. He then runs over to Mary Jane and a reporter friend of his, but that gives him an idea. If Spider-Man can't join the fight, why couldn't Peter Parker? So he hands the camera to Mary Jane and he tells her to point it right at him, keep him on frame. Hey, if you're watching this, then you know what's going on. Some New Yorkers woke up today with spider powers and now they're tearing our city apart. And all over the world, everyone's asking, why would they do that? Because everyone knows us as loud, rude, obnoxious jerks. Well, guess what? This morning, I woke up with spider powers just like the rest of you, and I'm gonna do my part. My name's Peter Parker, and I'm a native New Yorker. And when I look around, I don't see a bunch of jerks. I see teachers, nurses, cops, parents, neighbors, and friends. Good people who give their all every day. I see heroes, and today, we're not just heroes, we're superheroes. So Peter Parker then swings back in with a bunch of regular people that got spider powers, ready to save the day. And they begin beating on the spider-powered villains, and Carly notices her boyfriend Peter is in the fray. But once all of the villains are nabbed up, things go into full swing. The spider flu is a disease that Reed Richards needs to cure, so they lock down New York and they quarantine it. No one gets in or out, and Peter then reports to Horizon Labs while Spider Cop Carly gets to work trying to prevent the regular citizens from becoming superheroes. Reed takes Peter aside because he knows that Peter is really Spider-Man and he takes his blood. The only thing that they know at first is that superpowered individuals aren't affected. It's only affecting normal people. But while they're searching for a cure, something else interesting is going on. Eddie Brock, now known as Anti-Venom, is running around trying to cure people of the spider flu. His symbiote can do it, and he's just crazy enough to think that he can be New York's savior. While Flash Thompson, aka Agent Venom, is also secretly jumping into New York to assist with this problem as a Black Ops operative. Back with Peter Parker, he has now joined Carly in her investigation because Reed got what he needed and she decided that this whole thing sounds like something that an old Spider-Man villain, the Jackal, would do. So they swing themselves to the last known hideout of the Jackal to see what clues they could find out. But while they're tracking down the Jackal, Agent Venom has run into a bit of a problem on the nearby bridge as he's battling against King Spider, one of the Jackal's enforcers. He manages to use one of the local superheroes as a weapon by throwing him into the air and having him land on King Spider, knocking him unconscious. And then he hauls him off to his Black Ops unit to figure out who King Spider is. While the entire situation is a mess because King Spider broke free, Flash Thompson was able to get his Venom symbiote back and he's about to kill King Spider. And that's when everyone discovers that King Spider is actually a transformed Steve Rogers. He's actually Captain America. So they subdue him, and Agent Venom uses his symbiote to change his appearance into King Spider, allowing him to go undercover into Jackal's organization. Meanwhile, back with Peter Parker and Carly, they've entered Jackal's lair only to find White Rabbit, Chance, and Scorcher waiting. Carly tells Peter that this is perfect. If the bad guys are here, that must mean Jackal's involved. They both leap into the air, dodging the flames coming from the Scorcher, and Peter throws out a web barrage, and Carly starts trying to fight against the White Rabbit, only to take a hit to her head. Seeing his girlfriend in trouble, Peter jumps onto White Rabbit using his spider foo, and this confuses Carly because if he had these crazy moves, why didn't he use them earlier? But that was all it took to wrap up the villains and haul them off. But before she goes, Carly tells Peter that she needs to talk to Spider-Man and him together. Figure out a way to get them both into the same location because she needs to see them. Meanwhile, Anti-Venom is trying his best to cure everyone near him, but the civilians of New York don't want to be cured. They consider Eddie Brock's Anti-Venom a monster trying to take away their awesome powers. And he keeps trying to tell them that he is their savior! But all of these spider-powered individuals popping up is also causing issues for Madam Web, because she's now becoming overwhelmed with the amount of spider-powered people joining the web of life. It's overwhelming, she doesn't know what's causing it. Back with Spider-Man and Carly, he explains that she just missed Peter, and that's when they get a call to go stop Shocker because he's breaking into a bank during this whole thing, as odd as that is. When they get there, right off, Spider-Man can tell that something is wrong, because the Shocker now has 6 arms. I need this money! I don't want to be a stupid freak, he shouts out as he begins throwing his beams all over the place. They said they could fix me if I got this money! Wait, Shocker, are you serious? Spider-Man says, dodging everything, and that's when the Shocker pulls off his mask to reveal the monster that he is changing into. Matters get even worse though as Carly begins changing into a full-on spider monster behind Peter Parker. And then the web of life goes to its extreme as people begin changing all over New York. Spider-Man looks in horror as everyone around him begins changing into these giant spider monsters, and they all begin to crawl away. He then hits his knees, feeling defeated because he lost track of Spider Carly. All of these spider monsters are going to one central location in Central Park, to the Spider Queen! It turns out that Jackal isn't the evil mastermind behind this plot. The Spider Queen is actually a woman named Adrian Soria, a woman with a history tied into Captain America and Spider-Man. She originally defeated them and then went into hiding until Captain America found her, as she was starting her plans with the Jackal. So she defeated him with her new superpowers and had him changed. At that moment, Agent Venom disguised as King Spider arrives at the location. He kneels before the Queen and they accept him. The plan worked. Meanwhile, back with Anti-Venom, he's retreated into a church where there are now mutated spider people that have changed their tune and they're begging for him to cure them. He decides to take his role as the savior to heart. He'll cure them all! Back at Horizon, Mayor Jonah Jameson has decided that he has his own plan, and he demands that his bodyguards take him to the emergency command center. Of course, this is a terrible idea as his convoy is quickly under attack from the giant spider monsters and Spider-Man has to swing in to save the day. But Jameson refuses to be saved by Spider-Man again, and he gets out of his car using his own spider powers to start fighting against the monsters with Spider-Man. J. Jonah Jameson, the sensational Spider-Man, too many quips, my brain is overloading, Spider-Man says. Not another word, Jameson says, joining him in the fight. Meanwhile, back with the Spider Queen, she now gets news that there is someone named Eddie Brock, otherwise known as Anti-Venom, out curing the spider flu. So she decides to send the Spider King off to kill Anti-Venom, not realizing that she actually just sent Agent Venom off. Over at the command center, Spider-Man and Jameson arrive, and Spider-Man sees Jameson's plan to use Alistair Smythe, the Spider Slayer, against the spider monsters. With everyone telling him that he's insane, Jameson walks over to Smythe. How do I stop a whole city of spiders? But since Jameson has displayed spider powers, he is also connected to the web, the same web that the Spider Queen is using to manipulate the spider monsters. And she makes Jameson remember his own wife being killed by Smythe. Jameson begins to change and morph into the giant spider monsters, and he lunges at Alistair, biting him on the neck and killing him. Meanwhile, across the town at the church, Agent Venom has arrived to get Eddie Brock, but Brock recognizes the Venom symbiote and he begins to freak out! He tells Agent Venom that Venom is a leech and it'll change its owner like it did to him. But Agent Venom tells him that he's not a mass murderer. So Anti-Venom throws Agent Venom out of the church and he tries to cure him, wiping out the symbiote to finally get his revenge against it. But Agent Venom manages to kick Anti-Venom off of him, and the two duke it out even more, with Flash Thompson slowly losing control of his symbiote. Venom is mad and Flash can't keep it in check. Once Anti-Venom gets Agent Venom back onto the ground, he starts to get ready to cure it again, and Flash freaks out, throwing the whole symbiote onto Anti-Venom. Now, without having any control over it, it starts to try and take control of Eddie, and it begins to try and get rid of his Anti-Venom so it can go home, where it belongs. It wants to become the true Venom again! But Flash begs it, come back, return to me, I need you. The symbiote considers it, and it leaves Eddie Brock for Flash Thompson again, leaving Eddie unconscious. Agent Venom picks him up and he drops him off with Reed Richards back at Horizon Labs, where Eddie willingly gives up his Anti-Venom symbiote for Reed to use, even if it'll turn Eddie back to normal again. He'll be the savior! All Agent Venom had to do was ask. Back with Mary Jane, she's finally gotten spider powers after everyone else around her has already completely changed. In using them, she's trying to save people and become a spider-powered individual. It's time for Spider Jane, people! And then back over at the emergency command center, Spider-Man is fighting against a super-powered Jameson trying to kill everyone. Luckily, he was able to knock him out and web him up. He then runs over to Alistair. We could save you! But Alistair knows that he's done, and he tells Spider-Man that he already has the answer, the Spider Slayers. Meanwhile, Reed has used the Anti-Venom symbiote to come up with a cure, and he injects it into one of Peter's co-workers to check if it works. And it does, but the moment that he changes her back, the Queen knows, because she can feel Reed severing people from the Great Web. Realizing that them having a cure isn't good for their plans, Jackal suggests that they send their other enforcer to destroy the cure. Send in the monstrous Kane! Back at Horizon Labs, Madam Web has figured out why she can't see the future. It's not just the fact that there are so many spiders, it's the fact that this problem is combined with the spider jammers. Together, there are too many visions and she can't find a correct path to the future. She teleports into Horizon Labs into a ball of fire, and she tells the fools there to turn off their jammers. Not only does it block Spider-Man, but it also disrupts her visions. Fix it now! Spider-Man, on the other hand, is returning to his lab to see if he can figure out what Alistair is talking about. And he slips in like he always does, but he does find it odd that the computer is already reading him inside. He drops into the lab, and Kane jumps on him. Kane begins to swing at Spider-Man as Spider-Man tries to convince him to stop. Kane is just doing the Jackal's bidding again. He's better than this. But Kane can't hear him. He just hears the Jackal's orders, and he swings at Spider-Man again. So Spider-Man goes to plan B, and he starts using his Spider-Fu on Kane. But Kane isn't even affected, and he throws Spider-Man to the ground. Seen your moves. Got them on tape. With Spider-Man on the ground, Kane runs over to the doors, and using his Parker DNA, he gets inside where the cure is being manufactured off of the anti-venom symbiote. If he can destroy this, they won't be able to make another cure. Kane creates a toxin that the Jackal orders him to do, and he throws it into the vat of the cure. But before it can hit the vat, Spider-Man uses his webs and he catches it. Kane replies by getting his webbing onto Spider-Man's face and yanking him towards himself, and then he holds him over the vat of the cure, ready to shove him in with the toxin and cure Spider-Man and contaminate the rest of it once and for all. Right then, at that exact moment, the scientists of Horizon Labs deactivate their spider jammers. It's back! Spider-Man has his spider sense again, and it's stronger than ever. He dodges the punch, jumps into the air, and cracks Kane on the back of the head, throwing him into the cure. Kane then crawls out of the vat of cure. Little help over here? Spider-Man runs over. Kane! And Kane explains everything. The Queen is behind this, that Jackal is working for her, and that they need to stop her. While over with the Queen and the Jackal, she slams him with a sonic blast for failing her again. And Madam Web realizes the mistake that she's made, because the Queen is now getting all of the power from her spider underlings. Meanwhile, back with Agent Venom, he's decided to infiltrate her base, and once she catches him, she kicks his butt across the floor until they both end up in Central Park, where a now-cured Captain America jumps in to join the fight. With their efforts combined, they drop the Queen and finally succeed in ending this. Or so we'd hope, because the Queen begins to get all of the power from her spiders, and she changes in to the giant Spider Queen, the true Queen of the Spiders. Captain America turns to Agent Venom. Soldier, are you with me? Always. All right, round two. Across town, back at Spider-Man's lab, Kane and Spider-Man come up with a plan. Why not have two Spider-Men? So he gives him one of his older suits and they get ready to tag team this adventure. Over in what was once Central Park, the Spider Queen is rampaging, with Agent Venom and Cap on a helicopter in front of her, and the rest of the superheroes trying to figure out what the heck they should do. Kane and Spider-Man land a safe distance away, trying to think of what they should do, and that's when Madam Web appears. She's feeding off of the strength from all of her subjects, an entire island. She's a god now, Peter. The only way you can stop her is by killing her. Peter and Kane then jump off the roof together. You know that's not my way, Madam Web. Parker Brothers, away! That is not our catchphrase. We'll get sued, Kane says, ready to be the hero again. Spider-Man swings in with a solid punch at the Queen's head, and she throws him back against a building. But he gets caught by Mary Jane swinging by. Figured I owed you a few, Tiger. I don't know how to fight this one, MJ. Build something! That's your speech? Build something? Do you see the size of her? We would need 1,000,000 Spider Slayers to... I have an idea! With that, Spider-Man and MJ leave the superheroes and Kane to fight against the Spider Queen. He takes off to the police precinct where all of his old villains' gear is located, and he goes to the safe where they're keeping Doc Ock's Octobots. Then, they go to the largest antenna in Manhattan. Using it, he controls all of the Doc Ock Octobots, every single one of the millions of them out there, and he gets them to Horizon Labs where he grabs up all of Reed Richards' cure. Then, using the bots, he sticks every single one of the spider monsters with the cure to turn them back into regular people. The loss of so many spider people begins to depower the Queen. I'm gonna save everyone, MJ, Peter says with a grin. Back over at the Queen, she begins to lose her power, but she isn't done yet. So Miss Marvel turns to Kane. Me and Spidey have a move. You think you can do it? If you can do it, I can do it. So she grabs one of his webs and she spins him around, throwing Kane. He then crosses the line that Peter Parker never could. He pulls out his spider fangs that are in his wrists and he launches right through the Queen's head, killing her. And the superheroes win again. The Queen is dead. All of the humans turn back into humans, and everyone laughs at how they're naked now. Eddie Brock is considered a hero to all of New York after saving everyone, and Reed gets credit for saving the city with Eddie's help. Kane decides that he needs to move on. Now that he's alive again, there isn't room for another spider person in New York, so he'll head off for a little while. Maybe somewhere down south, like Houston. Carly Cooper figured it all out. She figured out that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. He was too good with the powers and he adapted too quickly. She's a cop after all, and the fact that he didn't tell her is a break of trust that she can't live with. So she left him. While everything seems to be going rocky for Spider-Man, as it always does because he lost Carly and he lost Kane, Mary Jane has him open his eyes for 1 second. The New Yorkers themselves have found a way to honor their hero. This is actually the Spider-Man story that got me back into Spider-Man after a long hiatus of not enjoying the Spider-Man story arcs. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Now, for those of you wondering where this fits into continuity, this actually is probably our earliest Spider-Man story as of right now, but it takes place just before Original Sin and long before Spider-Verse. That's why all that stuff happens afterwards. So if you enjoy this, make sure you check out this video and then go check out our other videos so you can be fully caught up on Spider-Man once again. Make sure you check out the other videos on the screen right now. I'm Benny the Comicstorian, and I'll see you guys next time right here.